Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MD's Baseball Podcast. I actually have the date from the other day, but today is the 13th and it's Wednesday of July, 2022. This is our 37th episode. And if you've been enjoying the podcast, we just asked to give us a little 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening, or if you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate it. If you subscribe, if you already haven't, hit that little bell, notifies you every time a new video comes out. And by the way, giveaway is still going on, guys. We're getting your entries. We got a few already, guys. Keep chipping them in. And if you don't know about the giveaway, check our posts for it on all social media platforms. And if anything, I believe it was 2 episodes ago. So episode 35 has all the details if you guys want to go back and listen to that one. By the way, your host Dominic Martino here with my co-host, my brother, partner in crime, Matthew Arne. Matt, how you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Had a
What I
little
like to hear.
tacos action. So, maybe,
Ooh, nice.
yeah. If you guys can't tell, I eat very well. I'm not the skinniest person.
Same here. Same here. A couple big guys.
Yeah. I mean, I got dad bod, but I'm not like a fat son of a gun. But
Yeah, at least you got the excuse that you're actually a dad. I don't have that excuse.
it's all good. It's all good. But I guess let's hit this. So,
Yeah, my brother. Let's keep it going with the finger on the pulse as always, right?
yeah. So we're gonna start off with somebody that I think has finally figured out that their pitch don't work. And I'll stop teasing it, and that's Blake Snell.
Well, real quick, I know Matt's super hype, guys, but what we're talking about on the finger on the pulse is going to be players that have rebounded from a tough start. Just
There
wanted
we
to throw the
go.
caveat out there. But
Thank
all
you.
right, Matt, are you ready to rant? Go for it, brother. Go for it.
Sorry, I just had a, too pumping
He's
and ready to
excited. It's
go.
all right. But we'll
So,
cut you a little slack.
it's one of those things where this guy, Blake Snell, finally realized like halfway through last year that his changeup just doesn't work. So if you
Tell me
guys
about
have
it.
seen what he's done in the last two starts, like it's like Blake Snell of old. It's freaking amazing. So let me tell you what it is if you haven't seen what he's been doing. So his last start against San Francisco, he got the W, 11 Ks in 6 innings with a 1.5 ERA and a .83 WHIP. Okay, guess how many changeups were thrown? Zero, zero changeups. Hold on. The week before, right, against the Dodgers,
A really good team.
a really good team, right? 12 Ks, 1.8 ERA, and the WHIP was a smidge bit high, but I think he got a little excited. He was striking guys out because it was a 1.60 ERA WHIP. So another zero changeup. And then the week before that against the Phils, he threw one. He had a 6.35. Okay, tells you that pitch is now I think has been hit and thrown in the garbage. Blake Snell, let me give you a piece of advice. This is man to man. I love you to death. You have all the talent in the world, you stupid bozo. Stop throwing the damn changeup, okay? And you can take me to fantasy glory. All right, I'm done.
Well, Matt, you know better than anybody, probably.
Sorry, I've been drinking.
It's all good. We appreciate it, my brother. We appreciate the enthusiasm over here. But as you know, like I said, better than probably anyone. I'm probably one of Blake Snell's biggest fans, and I'm also one of his biggest haters over the past couple of years. Blake Snell, ever since the year he won the Cy Young in my big keeper league, I've kept him and kept him and kept him until like the last couple of years where he really kind of hit that downhill stretch. But you know what? As Matt said, it's really just a changeup. Anyone that's paying attention or knows anything about fantasy baseball knows that Blake Snell, when he's not throwing the changeup, he's absolutely dominant, right? So as Matt gave you, what he has been done recently, let's go over those first 7 starts though and see what he's improved from, right? Over his first 7 starts, he had a 5.60 ERA and he had a 1.45 WHIP, right? So now he's working his way back down. The ERA has gotten a little bit lower to the 4.66. The WHIP's gotten a little bit lower. So you know what? We like what Blake Snell's doing over here, and I think he's primed for a pretty big second half if he keep it rolling. This week he does get cores though, so I'd be a little bit hesitant to maybe start him this week. I got him in one of my other leagues, and I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger on that one yet. But if you don't have any better options, probably definitely a start. But you know what, guys? As Matt said, we're very excited to see what Blake Snell is going to do in the second half, right? So let's go with another one of Matt's boys. I'll take a little bit of the lead here. I was kind of high on this guy going into the season. I kind of started fading him a little bit, more as things went on. But Mr. Logan Webb, he's absolutely been dominant lately. But, he did get off to a little bit of a slow start. So let's see if I can get those numbers for you here across his you know what the thing is? It's funny because all right, let's go with his first 11 starts, right? Let's see his first 11 starts, what those numbers look like. Bear with me a second. So over his first 11 starts, he threw 66 innings, had a 3.82 ERA, and the whip was a little bit higher than that. Whip looks like it was like a 1.3 around there. So, but he's been a lot better over his, what is it? His last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starts. So let's give you his last 7 starts numbers, right? Let me pull those up, guys. Just bear with me. I also got Logan Webb on a bunch of my other teams too, so I am a fan. So, okay, here we go. His last 6 starts, right? It's 40 innings. It's a 1.13 ERA for Logan Webb over his last 6 starts. And the whip has come down tremendously as well. It's actually right under 1. It's like a 0.99 whip. So he's been absolutely dominant. He has a great park to pitch in. I think the buy low window on him has passed, so you might not be able to, get him on a deal anymore. But Mr. Logan Webb, another guy that just looks like he's bouncing back, primed for a big second half here for the San Francisco Giants.
So let's just put it in perspective. Dom hated on me for how high I had him. Okay.
Yeah, but I have him on all my other teams though, pretty much.
That's
so
because you
I did
listen
draft
to the
him.
fantasy MDs.
Come on.
But I had Logan Webb coming into the year, number 13. Well, you can't really see it. I'm sorry. Number 13 pitcher coming in the year.
I gotta check where I have him now, where I had him.
Okay. Logan Webb, I drafted legitimately everywhere, and I think I said he was going to be primed for a good year, and he started off real slow. Yeah, you did. You had him in like the 30s.
I had him at 21. I did fade him going in. I had him higher, but I wound up fading him a little bit towards the end of the draft season.
So Logan Webb, truther. Okay. He has just been bananas, and this is what I thought he was going to do, right? He's not like this lights out K per 9 guy, right? Even though he had over a K per 9 last year in 148 innings, he threw 158 Ks, right? But it's nothing astronomical. But he only threw 148 Ks. I think if he were to get a little bit more innings this year versus last year, which it looks like he's on pace to do right now because he's already at 111.
Yeah, he'll pass those innings.
He'll pass
as long as he stays healthy.
Right. God willing, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I think,
of course.
I think we might see him start really killing it because, I mean, he's been bonkers. Like his last start against Arizona, it's Arizona, still 8 Ks in 6 innings. He's at least a K per 9 in every start. So I'm very happy with his production. And he's right now on the year after having that terrible start that Dom mentioned. You know what he is on the year? He's at a 2.82 for this year when he started off at a high 3s. He has fixed whatever the hell was wrong and is now kind of taking that turn for the best. And
I'm excited to see what Logan Webb has got in store for us in the second half, man. He's been absolutely dominant lately.
I mean, I need everybody to get back on page with him because personally I was ready to crawl up in a ball because my fantasy teams looked like hell. But I just realized
you're doing better, my brother. I see you.
I just drafted for the second half. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know. Everybody just had to get healthy. But
I hear you, my brother.
I think I've had enough talking about him, and we're going to move on to somebody that I don't have anywhere, and I was completely wrong about.
Me too, dude. And honestly, if you want to talk about vibing off you, I took a little bit of your vibe off of this one, and that's Mr. Robbie Ray, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, you know what? During the first 12 starts, I was like, you know what? Matt was pretty much right, and I faded him too. I dropped him super low. I had in the 30s. I'll be honest with you, the low 30s at that. But let's look at his first 12 starts here for Robbie Ray. He pitched 70 innings over those starts. He had the Ks, 77 Ks, but the ERA was a 4.97, right? So that's absolutely horrendous. The whip was up there too. The whip was looking like, a 1.4 whip, a little bit higher than that even. So it really wasn't a great start for Robbie Ray in Seattle, but man, has he figured it out lately, right? So let's give you his stats over his last 6 starts, right? So for Robbie Ray, his last 6 starts, 39.2 innings, 46 strikeouts. Matt, you want to talk about a low ERA lately? An 0.91 ERA for Robbie Ray over his last 6 starts. Batters are only hitting 135 against him over his last 6 starts. Looks like Robbie Ray is, reverting back to that Cy Young caliber that he was at last year. And just another guy that I think is primed for a big second half. His numbers still aren't looking super fantastic. You know, it's a 3.51 ERA on the year. You still might be able to throw a little buy low offer on him at the moment. Probably better than Logan Webb and well, Blake Snell's a different story, but you could probably still buy low on him, guys. But with Robbie Ray, man, I think he's going to be great. I always liked Robbie Ray. I was also a year off on him. I was drafting him everywhere during the COVID year, and he did nothing. And then, you know, last year he goes out and did what he did, and I didn't draft him anywhere last year. So with Robbie Ray, guys, I think, you know, as I said, big second half for the guy.
Yeah, Robbie Ray, I had him actually higher than I thought that you would. I had him at 24.
Oh, damn. So you moved him up then towards the end of draft season.
Yeah, because you know
Got
what?
him way higher than me. I had him in like 35.
You know, it's just like, I guess, like my thought process going in was, you know, you can't really regress that hard and heavy.
True.
So, like,
especially he's established. You kind of know what he could do, you know.
Right. We've seen him do it before, so I guess my thought, and I'm thinking about what I did because I don't remember what I did yesterday. Have a child, and you'll end up like me. So, you know, like, I guess I was thinking, okay, let me move him up. He earned his respect to at least be somewhat high, but I didn't like the Seattle lineup. You know, at the beginning of the year, I felt like they weren't going to be good at defense. I felt like he was going to suffer from a young team.
They finally getting it together.
Yeah,
dude. They're finally pulling it together.
So they're clicking. And you know, I think, you know, Julio is really kind of the spark there.
Yeah, that was my guy this year. You want to talk about somebody that I had high? I had him at 15 at outfield coming into the year. So I thought I was a little crazy, but it's paid off. Also, by the way, in case nobody's heard, it looks like Julio is doing the home run derby. So that's going to be exciting to see. I love all the young stars are in it. I'm just excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But Robbie Ray, I think, hands down, is at least try to go out there and try and scoop him if you can. I don't know if anybody's going to, but you could pretty much, this is my selling point for you. He's had a lot of light matchups recently, and you're like, oh, it's inflated. You can talk him out of it, but I think it's here to stay.
Yeah.
So, you know, try and go and snag him up. But let's switch over to some bats, and that's Mr. Dansby Swanson.
Dansby, I love this guy, man. One of my favorite players in the league right now. I'm so happy that it's finally clicking for him.
I'm blown away, though. So, like, my thing was last year, you know, he kind of, like, cooled off. He got hurt, too. But, like, he kind of cooled off. He kind of, like, leveled off, and it wasn't as good. But he started off the year hot. And I was like, okay. And you all heard me say this, too, earlier in the year. I think he's a sell high, right? Well, he's done it for, what are we in, July? So that's April, May, June, July, 4 months.
Well, the thing is, he kind of did have a bad April. That is why I wanted to throw him on here. Right. For Dansby in April, he 22 games. He only hit .216. He had one bomb. He only had 8 runs and 7 ribbies. So, you know, kind of wasn't there for the first month. But ever since then, literally since the start of May, on May 1st, he had a 2-for-4 game with an RBI and just 2 hits, as I said. And he's been great since then, literally. He's been great since April.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, I think that he's here to stay. My whole opinion has changed. I think that, you know what, if you were smart enough to draft him, because I wasn't, you know, yeah. But I think that, you know, he's ready to rock. And let me just read off his numbers real quick for anybody that doesn't own him and is not smiling ear to ear. Right on the year, it's 55 runs, 14 bombs, 50 ribbies, 14 stolen bases, 14. Last year in 588 at-bats, he only had 9.
Yeah,
14.
They're letting the kid run.
And we're only at 340. So he still has to catch last year another 248 freaking at-bats. He might get 20.
I see him 20-20 this year. Definitely.
I think he's going to do 30-20.
Could. Yeah, he hit 27 bombs last year.
Right. There's nothing that tells me he can't. And he's batting 297 on the year. Last year, he hit 248. I think he said, hey, well, you know what? Time to get that money since Freddie Freeman left. So let me see if I can get a nice contract extension. And also, too, let me step up and be the big dog because he's on the older side and been with the Braves for quite some time. So, you know what?
Yeah, he's 28. He's been around since he's 22.
Yeah, so he's stepping up. You know, I think he's trying to grab that face of the organization. He damn well deserves it. So, you know, congratulations, Swanson.
I'm on board with you there, Matt. I have him in one league. Fortunate enough, somebody dropped him after that slow April. I snagged him up, just on a whim, and it's been working out. Out of the last 3 years, as Matt stated, he kind of faded towards the end of last year, dropped that batting average a little bit, but he was, hot. I'd say going into the last couple of months there where he started to slow down. But he even had a good 2020. In 2020, Dansby Swanson, he played 60 games at 237 at bats, which actually led the league. He had 49 runs, 10 bombs, 35 RBIs, 5 steals, and he hit 274, right? So he kind of like was showing us that the potential is still there after being, a high pick in the draft, all the way back when. And man, it's just really panning out. I can't really add too much more on to what Matt said, that just the kid's going to be great. I love this kid going forward into the future, and I don't want us to sound like a broken record here. So let's move on to the next guy, and that's Cedric Mullins, right? And he's really picking it up lately. He's been another guy, slow starter. I'm gonna pull up his first actually couple of months numbers here, because I know he had a really slow start, because he was actually one of my keepers in one of my other leagues. So if Baseball Reference wants to work with me here, I'll get you his numbers. All right, so you know what? Let's just go. Let's do the first month. Let's do April for Cedric Mullins, right? So in April, Cedric Mullins. Come on, Baseball Reference. Don't be. All right, because Baseball Reference just doesn't want to, tally up these stats for me here. On the month of April total, he hit 210. Let's see here. Not a home run. I'm doing this myself manually for you guys. I'm just looking here at the stat lines, and he only had one stolen base. So it was one home run, one stolen base, and he hit 210 in April after going 30-30 last year, right? And just everyone was super high on him coming in, but he's been figuring out of late. As I said, his batting average was at 210 after April. Thanks, Baseball Reference. You're late. I don't need that anymore. He's hitting 261 now. He's hitting 261. He's got those numbers up. I believe he has 7 home runs and 18 steals on the year. So it's 17 steals since April. And I think he's gonna not maybe go 30-30 again this year. But you know what? If he gave you the 30 steals and he hit, 16, 17 home runs, you're still not going to be mad at him. Providing steals in a league where steals are down. And, he's going to get that batting average up. I think, he's going to get that batting average up probably around 270 or 280. Once again, if this is a guy that you can buy low on, and the Orioles have been actually hitting of late, they're really making a push for a wild card spot. So I would go out there and see if I could, get a Cedric Mullins if I need steals specifically. I wouldn't be counting on him for too much else. As I said, power's a little bit down this year. And, the batting average, I don't think he's going to hit 291 again. But, hey, if he could finish the year around 275, I call that a win.
Yeah. I mean, here's my outlook on him. So in the last month, he's hit almost half his stats in the run category and in ribbies. So he has 15 runs, 12 ribbies. And on the year, he has 47 and 36. So that's nearly half in both. He's at 45 at bats on bats on the okay on the year, where he had 602 last year. So here's the deal: with only 1 home run over the last year and 7 over the last month, and only 7 home runs on the year, I don't think he's even going to hit 25. I think we're I think we're going to see about 22.
Yeah, I was even under that. I said maybe 17.
Yeah,
but still, if he reaches 20, guys, that's a success.
Yeah. Stolen bases, he's at 18. So he's halfway through the season, and he has more than half on the stolen bases. I think we might see more. Yeah. So I'll take more stolen bases. I definitely agree in the batting average department. I think 275 is definitely an obtainable goal. Maybe even see him creep into the 280 if he gets real hot real soon. And the beauty of it, owning him right now, is if what our predictions say is he's at least going to hit, from Dom's perspective, 10 more, me 15 more. So that's somebody that you're probably happy to own, because that's what, 3 months left of fantasy baseball.
It gives you 5 home runs a month. Not gonna be mad at that.
That's 1.25 a week.
Yeah,
you're happy with that. That's nice production from you. That's what you hopefully can expect from him moving forward. And I think he might even hit 40 stolen bases.
Yeah. You know what, Matt? We kind of been rambling on here. Let's just cut through this next one pretty quick. We got last guy here that we're going to talk about. We got Marcus Simeon. He's this one's interesting. I'm going to give you. So from April 5th to April 8th to June 5th, 52 games for Marcus Simeon, right? And let's check these stats out. Only 26 runs, only 3 home runs, only 19 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases, right? So I mean, he really kind of started off. So he's hitting 196 over that time, right? So just he really tough start for Marcus Simeon. But you know what? Let's do. Let me see if I can get his stats from the day after, which was June. Oh, the next game was June 7th for him. So let's do from June 7th to the end of to today. Let's see. All right, he's got that batting average up to 238 on the season, but from June 7th to July 12th, Marcus Simeon has played 32 games, 21 runs, 9 bombs, 23 RBIs, hitting 303 and 6 steals. So he's just been really good of late, guys, kind of bouncing into that that groove that we all know he has because he's done it in Oakland. He did it in Toronto last year. I don't think anybody was expecting the huge bomb total again. But you know what, guys? I think he's rebounded very well, and I'm excited to see what he could do going forward. And he's a guy that you really still might be able to buy kind of low on because the batting average is only at 238. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the beauty of it, right? In terms of home runs, I think the home runs are attainable. I don't think he's hitting 45, but 30 is within reach. And here's the reason why. In the last month, he hit 6. He has 12 on the year. He had half his production for home runs this month. So let's go. I think that the home runs in the second half are going to be there. I mean, he only needs about 18 more. I think he could do that.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm probably going a little bit lower than you might. I think maybe like 28 bombs, but it's not by much. We're super close.
I mean, he's hitting in the last month too, 283. He has 4 stolen bases. He has 18 ribbies and 16 runs. I think the production and the counting stats are there for him. I think that he's figuring it out for himself. I'm very excited for what he's going to do moving forward. And you know what? I keep saying this, and he's actually doing it, within the first year of his contract. And I say, guys on new teams,
yeah, yes, sir.
new places usually don't have a good first year. He figured it out. My guy found a barbecue spot. You live in Texas.
See,
found a barbecue
that's got to
spot,
be one of the fantasy MD's motto, guys. Here, that's something that we love to preach, both of us here, is that guys on a first year new team, and that could be any sport. There's so much stuff that goes into that. If you got the wife and kids, got to make sure the kids get into a school, got to make sure the wife's happy, got to make sure you got the new house, got to get furniture and all that fun stuff. And sometimes that could eat away at you a little bit when you're getting into a new routine, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at Freddie Freeman.
Yeah,
I mean, outside of him having everything but home runs, that's something that he is just the best hitter in baseball in terms of making contact and getting on base.
Yeah.
His bombs are down. So
even going off of that, another guy that's a high average hitter that's having a tough time on a first year new team, but he's also hot. He could have even been in this segment that we're doing. Corey Seeger, another guy on Texas Rangers. I think he's got 5 home runs in a row, like 5 games. He has a home run in each game. So he's another guy that's kind of clicking, as you're getting comfortable. Maybe him and Simeon going to the same barbecue spot, Matt.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they're on the same team. They might be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we get this news.
We're totally rambling here, guys. Forgive us. We went a little bit long here and finger on the pulse, but you know what? We normally don't talk about, guys that are doing really good and stuff like that. Not that we usually just do our waiver wire segment and stuff like that. We wanted to highlight some players that we haven't really talked about a lot this year and, just let you guys know who's hot, right? So Matt, going into the news, cut me off at any time you like. So the big one here today is there's 10 unvaccinated players for KC. They're not going to play the next 4 games at Toronto. The names are Whit Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Hunter Dozier, Cam Gallagher, MJ Melendez, Brady Singer, Brad Keller, Kyle Isabel, Michael A. Taylor, and Dylan Coleman. They will all miss the next 4 games because they're not unvaccinated. And, Canada is doing what they want over there. So we're just going to leave it at that. We got CJ Crone. He's still day-to-day dealing with that sore wrist after being hit on the wrist. He did play Monday, but I guess he's feeling a little bit sore after that. So, they've been sitting on the past couple of days. On a good note, Freddie Peralta has been throwing multiple inning bullpen sessions. He's working his way back from that shoulder strain. They're saying he's a little bit ahead of schedule. We could see him in August, which would be nice for, anyone that drafted him. He was drafted very, very high this year, and he's been out a long time. Frankie Montas, there was some conflicting news. At first, the A's came out and said that he was going to start this weekend against Oakland. Going to start against the Astros for Oakland, but it looks like that's not the case. He's still a little bit, banged up. He could be headed for an IL stint here heading into the All-Star break. might be back after the All-Star break. I would just keep an eye on Frankie Montas because that's a developing situation. Christian Yelich is day-to-day. He's been dealing with a sore back the last few days. Mike Trout also dealing with a sore back. He's day-to-day as well. Then we got Chris Taylor from the Dodgers. He was dealing with that foot issue. They're saying that, he's begun taking dry swings. He's still a few weeks away, guys. So, once again, keep an eye on Chris Taylor if that's somebody that you're waiting to get back. In the better news, we got Lance McCullers Jr. He's dealing with that flexor tendon strain. He's thrown 2 simulated innings yesterday. He might begin a rehab assignment next week, guys. If he's still floating out there in one of your leagues, might be a little sneaky pickup. I like Lance McCullers, even though he's a little bit injury prone. Then we got Brandon Lau. He went 3 for 4 yesterday with 2 doubles. He's coming working his way back from that back injury. They're saying he could be activated by Friday, guys. I totally see that. He's been hot down there in the minors. Then we got Jock Peterson. He's been feeling a little bit sore the last few days in his neck and back. They actually took him out of the game a little bit early today. I would keep an eye on that situation. Once again, he might not play the next couple of days, but we will see. He actually declined an invitation to the home run derby, so that's a little bit, I'm saying. Then we got Trevor Story. He was hit on the hand by Corey Kluber. The X-rays did come back clean, and he should be out a few days. Then we got Starling Marte. He's still day-to-day with that grind tightness. He hasn't played since the 9th. I would keep an eye on that. Another guy that might not be back until after the All-Star break, keep an eye on. This last one, guys, was a little bit unfortunate. Somebody I've been touting almost all season. Tanner Rainey, the closer for the Nationals. Looks like he's headed for Tommy John. The Nats threw him on the 60-day IL, saying it's a UCL sprain. So with that, that's that one for Tanner Rainey. But with that being said, guys, we're going to head into the waiver wire segment. So, guys, we're going to head into the waiver wire segment now, and I'm super, super excited for this one. I don't know if y'all seen, I got the new San Diego Padres City Connect fitted on in honor of this guy, man, and I've been waiting for a long time. Mr. Esteury Ruiz of the San Diego Padres, man. My favorite hitting prospect, for like the last couple of months down in the minors. He's been absolutely dominant. He probably should have got the call a little bit sooner. I'm going to read you his numbers here across AA and AAA on the year. Right, 77 games for Mr. Ruiz, 291 at-bats. Remember that, 291 at-bats as I read you off these stats. 84 runs, so that's more than a run per game. 23 doubles, 2 triples, 13 home runs, 46 RBIs, 60 steals. That is not a typo. It's 60 steals for Esteury Ruiz. 77 games. He hit 333 across that time. Just been the best hitter in the minor leagues, in my opinion, for the last 2 months, guys. In his debut, he was hitting 8th yesterday. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. I think the sky is the limit for this kid. He's already up to 30% owned on Yahoo. He's only eligible at second, but he is playing outfield for them. So he will gain outfield eligibility as well, as long as, they keep him out there, and that's where it looks like he's going to play. Guys, throw the kitchen sink at him for an fab, should be your number 1 waiver pickup. I can't express enough how excited I am for this kid. I picked him up in every league I have. I advised everyone I know, go and get him. Just the kid's dominant. He's super fast. Going to be a star in this league, in my opinion, guys.
Yeah, I mean, so Dom turned me on to him because I had no clue who this kid was. I'm going to be completely honest. He is incredible. He probably is one of those types that's like flew under the radar because nobody really was talking about him anywhere. And he is definitely the truth. We'll see for now how he translates into the bigs, but it looking so because usually, prospects don't come out and just smack something, and here he did. So let's go, Ruiz. I'm pretty excited for you. But
I'll tell you one thing I did notice. They interviewed him after the game, right? And they actually showed a clip. He was sitting with the hitting coach before the game, and they were looking over. He faced Austin Gomber yesterday, right? So he's a student of the game. That's what I love. I love guys that want to learn and want to get better. So he was sitting with the hitting coach looking at the scouting report on Austin Gomber, and he's like, oh, this is what he throws. This is what his tendencies are. So a guy like that's coming up and he wants to learn and wants to get better. Just my favorite kind of player, dude. Just a guy you need to go out and grab. Yeah. Sorry if I'm rambling.
No, you're good, man. You're good. But let's move on. I think we've sucked him off enough. And
yeah, I certainly have.
Got a little something right here, Dom.
Yeah, right. Is it? Gotta clean it up.
Yeah. Come on now. He paid you better than that.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, talk about this next guy here. Somebody we've talked about in the past, and that's Ramon Loriano. Coming off that suspension, he's really killing it. 42% owned. This last month it's been pretty incredible outside the batting average. 16 runs, 5 bombs, 11 ribbies, 4 stolen bases. He's batting 229, which is whatever, because he was really only like a 250 hitter anyway on last season. So, you know what? He had 341 at bats last year, and he's had 209 this year. And his on the year is 31, 7, 19, and 9, batting 239. And last year was 43, 14, 39, 12, and 246. So if he gets to finish out the rest of the year, gets another 200 at bats, I think that he's at least going to hit 20 bombs. He's going to have the steals there for you. He's going to hit you about 250. And he's going to have his down weeks, of course. But I think he's definitely a viable pickup, somebody that, you know what, if you're hurting from whatever injuries have come up over the last few days, I know Trout's been hurt, day to day.
Piling up.
People are getting hurt these days. Might as well scoop him up, see what you can do. He's definitely a nice plug and play piece for when guys go down or on off days. He's somebody that's going to be very valuable for you down the stretch, because he's going to be a four category contributor, because batting average is going to be here and there. On the weeks he's hot. But other than that, still A-okay in my book.
Yeah, as Matt said, Ramon is somebody that we've talked about on the podcast before, and what I have been saying is Ramon Loriano in Oakland, they're selling at the deadline, right? They're going into total rebuild, and this guy, he's getting a little, not too old, but 27 years old. I don't think they really see him as a big part of their future plans. So Ramon Loriano could be on the move to a contender, So I think I'll tell you this, it's tough to get excited when you're playing on a bad team. As an athlete, I've played my whole life. I've been on some bad teams, and it's tough to get it going every game when you kind of just know you're going to go out there and lose on most nights, right? So if he goes back to a contender, across his first 2 years, Ramon hit 288 in both seasons, in 2018 and 2019. He hit 288. He's a big steals guy. He's super fast. There's even a little pop in that bat. He should wind up with at least, I'd say around maybe, close to 20 bombs, definitely over 20 steals. I think he can get you 25 steals total, not the rest of the way, but total numbers. And he's a good baseball player. He plays a decent outfield. So I just see him moving to a contender, and snag him now. Snag him going into All-Star break. You could wait until the weekend. I don't think anybody's picking him up. Wait until during the All-Star break, and then headed into the trade deadline. I think this guy could be somebody who is an impact bat in the second half, right? So next guy up, we got Yandi Diaz, right? This is somebody, if you've been around, he was a pretty big prospect coming up, but he never really panned out. This year, he's looking pretty good so far, though. He's a batting average guy. On the season, Mr. Yandi Diaz has played 79 games, 267 at-bats, 39 runs, 3 bombs, 23 RBIs, a steal, and he's hitting 303. So now the thing with him is, he's more his career. He's a 276 hitter. The runs are good too. So he's definitely contributing in runs and batting average. As far as everything else goes, though, not really going to get too much out of him, but he's been hot of late. So, it's kind of like a juice to orange situation. He's eligible at first and third on Yahoo. And we know third base has been horrible this year. So if you're hurting at third base, he's at least he's going to, as my brother always says, you find batting average off the waiver wire, it's super, super helpful. So 31% owned on Yahoo for Yandi Diaz. Go snag him if you're hurting at third base and you need some batting average.
Yeah, Yandi's somebody that's like a fantasy darling, always a name that's thrown around before he goes and gets hurt and gets a case of the Monteses for the year.
Yeah.
And he definitely is valuable going into the second half. If he gets a fair shot of the second half without somehow pulling his flangy, he'll definitely be a fantasy contributor. I like the upside of him, especially for the second half. That Tampa Bay team is really good. I think that he's going to bring a lot to it, and he's going to help everyone around him. It's exciting. Let's hope he actually gets to stay there. But let's move on to our last bat here, and that's going to be Carlos Santana. Not the singer, but
Yeah, have you guys been watching baseball over the last year? Since 2010, this guy's been around. He's the 12-year vet, 13-year vet at this point, Mr. Santana.
I'm going to get him a nice wheelchair, but he stayed healthier than Montesi. and he's like
Matt,
87. So,
where's the haterade, Matt? Where's the
oh,
haterade? Is it
oh,
there?
sorry. It's here. That's
Right
why I
for
pulled it out.
the Adalberto Mondesi.
Hmm. I got to make fun. Um,
Yeah, we like to have fun around here.
but in the last month, he's been killing it. 14 runs, 4 bombs, 14 ribbies, batting 324. He's really killing it. The last week, 636, batting 357. Let's go. He's a pickup, ride the wave situation. Santana has always been somebody that's reliable and stretches, not a whole season solution. Because, last year he batted 214, but when he's hot, he's hot. And that's usually when he gets most of his stats. So, if you're in like an NFBC league or somebody's just really has somebody down that's going to be out for just like a little bit of hair, like taking a little IL stint, he's worth the pickup. And he has that first base eligibility. So, first base really isn't that hot anyway. So if you're waiting on somebody that's down, scoop him up.
Yeah, Matt. I'm gonna just throw out this because Matt, you did a great job there with the analysis. Just the thing is he got traded a couple weeks ago from Kansas City to Seattle, and once again, Kansas City is an alright team, but Seattle's gonna make a playoff push here, and it looks like he got motivated. So it's been 12 games since Carlos Santana got traded to Seattle. In those 12 games, he's got 9 runs, he's got 3 bombs, he's got 6 RBIs. And he's hitting 282, and also he's got 7 walks to 10 strikeouts. So you love that. He knows how to take his walks, got a good eye. And like I said, the batting average of it's up to 282. So, it might wind up being a juice to orange situation here for Carlos Santana. He's 10% owned on Yahoo. I'd say you give him a shot. You need a little power in your lineup. It looks like he's driving runs in and he's scoring runs. So, at least he's giving you 3 out of the 5 categories, that most leagues count. And if you're in an OBP league, his OBP is great. As I mentioned, guy knows how to take a walk. So, that's Carlos Santana, guys. We're going to move into some pitchers here, and as I've been saying, guys, bear with us here because, it's slim pickings on the waiver wires right now. So I'm just going to go with one of my boys. I touted him before he came back from the injury, and he's been back and he's been all right. And that's Drew Rasmussen of the Tampa Bay Rays. He's just been useful on the year. It's 66 innings, 5 wins, 57 Ks, a 3.11 ERA, and a 1.19 WHIP. So, he's been pretty good. I know he's got a tough matchup with Boston coming up, so you might not want to throw him out there against Boston. They've been hot lately. But hey, you know what? As at 55% owned, if you snag him up and you wait till after the All-Star break, I know he's got some good matchups coming up then. So, with Mr. Rasmussen, just pick him up. He was good last year for the Rays, too. I think out of all the guys we're going to talk about today, he might be my number one.
Yeah, Drew is good. I got nothing against him. I feel like he's probably going to figure it out. He's really not a K per 9 guy, but you know what? He's definitely a quality guy. And depending on the leagues and what kind of stats you're looking for, he's going to get you some categories that aren't in standard 5x5. He's a good pitcher overall. But let's move on to Marco Gonzalez, somebody I picked up actually last week, and I'm excited that he's going to get to start tomorrow. Right, tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. Against the Texans, it's a decent matchup. You got to watch out for Simeon and the Seeger, but ultimately he's been on a tear. It's not like he's a K per 9 guy either. He's not really going to help you in that, but he's going to help you in the ERA category. He's going to help you out in the win category because he does play for the Marlins. No, not the Mariners. Yeah, Mariners. Sorry, get them all mixed up. They're both fishes.
Sorry, you're good.
And he has a great ERA. Shoot, on the year he has 3.24 in the last month. He has 2.51. But, he has 11 Ks out of 32 innings in the last month. So, that's the downside to Marco Gonzalez. But he's definitely a nice little spot start. And I think I'm willing to roll him out this week. I'm actually pretty excited to roll him out. He's going to help me out very well, especially going up against you.
Yeah. So with Marco Gonzalez here, I'll say the thing is he suppresses runs, right? He's not a guy that normally gives up a lot of runs over the past 4 years. He's hasn't had a ERA over 4, which is pretty useful. The only thing I don't like is the whip is a little high this year at a 1.31. So that's a little shaky. And as Matt said, he's not really a K per 9 guy. So I think he's more of a matchups play. If you like the matchup, you throw him out there. As Matt said, he's touting him out there this week. So 31% owned for Marco Gonzalez, and go if you're desperate, you need a guy to throw out there. I'd say he's definitely useful. So with that being said, we're going to move into a couple other guys that might not be as useful, but let's talk about Reed Detmers, right? He's been up and down lately. He threw the no-hitter. I believe it was either last year or 2 years ago. I'm not 100% sure if it was either last year or the year before, but he has thrown a no-hitter in his young career already. He's only 22 years old. He was a highly touted prospect. So on the year, he hasn't been great, but since he came back from the minors, he actually got sent down, struck out 14 in a minor league start, and then they called him right back up after that. So on the year, Reed Detmer's got a 4.22 ERA, 64 innings, 51 Ks. The whip is very nice, though. I like that 104 whip. So that kind of shows you he's got good control. He knows what he's doing with the ball there. Let's see. I don't think he's that highly owned, to be honest with you. Let's
He's
check.
11% owned.
There you go, Matt. He's 11% owned, so you can go out there and snag him in any league pretty much. He does get Houston this week, so I don't think I'm throwing him out there against Houston. But like I said, All-Star breaks coming up. That schedule might wind up looking a little bit better there for Mr. Reed Detmers. He could totally do worse than him. Once again, I'm definitely not touting him out against the Astros, to be honest. That's just not something I want to do. But in his last start against Baltimore, he went 6 innings, struck out 7, didn't give up a run, and only had a 0.50 whip. So you know what? He looks like he's turning things around at 22 years old. This kid's got a bright future ahead of him, my opinion. That's Reed Detmers, guys.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. I mean, and we're throwing him out there probably for more of a next week play. But
Yeah. We're after the All-Star break,
yeah, I forget it's next week. Oh,
Yeah.
there's no baseball next week.
A little bit. I believe it's Monday to Thursday. There's no baseball. It comes back next Friday, I believe.
Dirty.
I know, right? I remember real quick. I remember at the beginning of the year, the first day that baseball's on, and I was watching MLB Tonight. Oh, what's the guy's name? I forget the guy with the hair.
I mean, that's definitely not me then.
Yeah, no, the dude's got some flow going on, and he was like, "This is the, last times until July when there'll be no baseball," and I'm like, "Woo!" And then it's July now, and there's no baseball next week, so I feel that, Matt.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. I mean, he's definitely worth at least the scoopity scoop. If anything, wait till Sunday and then just hold him and see what his matchup's going to be the next week.
Yes,
but let's talk about somebody that's been flexing their muscles, and that's Chris Flexon. Not to be a cornball, but he's been killing it recently. Against San Diego of all teams, which is a good lineup. He got the W. He got 8 Ks, gave up no runs, and had a 105 whip. Another good, and the kid's just having an up and down year. But I think the last 2 weeks have shown that, hey, he's worth an ad, and he's on Seattle again, which is a good lineup. So he's maybe somebody that's trending in the upward direction for the second half. Solidness. But at least, you know what, we might be able to hold him through the next couple of matchups and see what he can do for us. The last 2 weeks, 2 wins, 11 Ks, 2.13 ERA with a 1.26 whip. It's a little bit on the high side, but whatever. But through 12 innings. So I'm all about it. He might be able to get you something. I don't even know if he's actually starting this week because I think he had it yesterday.
Yeah, I think he went up against the Nats yesterday. Had a pretty good start.
Yeah, so I don't think he's going to get the weekend start. Maybe Sunday, if we're lucky.
Might be against Texas too, so
it'll be a decent matchup. If not, you'll have him for next week. For your next week matchups, which could be very, very, very beneficial for you.
Yeah, with Chris Flexon, guys, he's not having the best year on the whole so far this year. But last year he was useful, right? So let's start Chris Flexon's numbers from last year. Last year, Flexon had 14 wins, 6 losses, a 3.61 ERA across 31 starts, 179.2 innings, 125 Ks. Not really a K guy, and the WHIP was a 1.25. So we're just kind of saying that, it is getting harder to find pitchers off the waiver wire. And if you are looking for somebody, Chris Flexon is a decent throw. It might be a dart throw from across the room, but hey, you know what? Sometimes it lands on that bullseye, right? So we're going to wrap things up here with a couple of closers. And this segment's actually getting harder and harder to do as well, right? So the first one we're going to throw out there is somebody who got the save, I believe it was yesterday. And we've talked about this guy on the podcast before. That's Alexis Diaz. And in case you guys didn't know, that's Edwin Diaz's little brother, the closer for the Mets. So runs in the family. And we all know how good, Edwin's been on the year. I think he has more strikeouts than, I believe it was more strikeouts than walks this year, like by a lot, by like a big dominant number, right? So, on the year for Alexis Diaz, his little brother, he's got 2 wins, 2.18 ERA in 30 games, 33 innings pitched, 42 Ks. So he's a strikeout guy like his brother, and a clean 1 whip. So this guy's really, really good. If Cincinnati decides to let him run with the job, as I said, he got the last save for them. So the thing is I believe that he was throwing Hunter Strickland out there in the 9th innings, recently, but I think Alexis Diaz totally deserves it. And right now, if you weren't able to get, like a Gratterall we talked about yesterday and a couple on the last podcast, and a couple other guys that we threw out there as well on closers, Alexis Diaz is not a bad option right now. At minimum, he's going to give you strikeouts, good ERA, and a good whip. So I'm saying go out there and snag him right now. Let's just what does he own, Matt? You got his ownership percentage there?
I don't actually. Sorry.
10% for Alexis Diaz on Yahoo, guys. So go out there and snag him.
Yeah.
3 saves on the year, by the way, too, and you got the most recent one for the Reds.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely worth a flyer. But let's move on to the next one, and let's wrap it up after this. It's Washington's closers.
Yes,
since my guy unfortunately is having TJ Tanner Rainey, it's time to figure out who's going to replace the two candidates. Are going to be Kyle Finnegan, who I've never heard of, or Steve
He's been
Shishek.
around.
Yeah, or Steve Shishek, who actually has been fantasy relevant and has been a relevant closer in the league before, who I think will probably get the job if I had to pick out of the two. Steve Shishek has had a nice track record with just being a closer in general. He's always been kind of reliable. Last year he didn't have too much
for the Mullins back.
Yeah. So, he hasn't had an actual starting job in the last couple of years, but you know what? I mean, between COVID and whatnot, it is what it is. But I mean, we'll see who gets the save opportunities after this week, because I mean, my guy just got diagnosed literally yesterday. So we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what happens tomorrow, and we'll see how it plays out. I think he'll just end up with the job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you, Matt. I'm gonna be honest. If I couldn't even guess who gets the job here, because neither one of them have good numbers on the year. Right. At this point, this is like a deep league ad, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll take Alexis Diaz over both of them, in my opinion. But it's tough, guys. It's really, really, as Matt said, Shishek might get the chance here because he's had the opportunity and to be a good closer in the past, and he's executed on that. But you know what? Finnegan last year actually wasn't too bad. He had a 3.55 ERA. He had 11 saves for the Nats last year. 66 innings, 68 Ks, and a 1.48 whip, which is absolutely horrendous. So I don't know. Guys, kind of take your pick there. I'm not really gonna recommend either one of them. I just wanted to let you guys know that one of these two will probably be closing for the Nationals. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was a committee. So I'm going to say do the due diligence yourself on this one, guys, and kind of read the hand that the Nats are throwing out there. But other than that, guys, we're going to wrap things up here for the Fantasy MDs today. Don't forget to enter the giveaway and, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a little 5-star on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to us. But until next week, I will throw this out there. Matt and I are getting together this weekend, so maybe we'll hop on. Maybe we'll do a quick Q&A on a live or something like that on YouTube. So just be on the lookout. If we're feeling up to it, we'll do it. I'm not making any promises, but just keep an eye out. So until then, guys.
Yep, and no promises with State of Mind will be in. Peace.
Yeah, that as well. Peace out, guys.